price discounts that exchanges offer to broker-dealers. You say this rule would help enable more competition in this market. But something that was raised at this open meeting was the idea of the timeline and sequencing with the other equity market structure proposals that the SEC has already made. How do you see the timing working out with all these different rules here?
Well, first, thank you for the birthday wishes. And I am working because I love the job. My identical twin brother, he's at the beach. So, but in terms of these, this proposal today, this is trying to level some of the playing field between and amongst brokers, because stock exchanges today are offering different fee packages through these rebates, so that the mid-sized brokers and the smaller brokers in essence pay higher net fees. So that's what this proposal is. You're right, we made some proposals last December addressing 4 specific areas, and we've gotten good public feedback on that, and the staff is working on possible recommendations for the commission to consider on each of those prior proposals.
On the pace of that work, though, again, coming to the timeline and sequencing question, can you give us an idea of how close that work is to being done?
2 things. One is we don't do things against a clock. It's really about the staff work and feeding things up to our 5-member commission. And then we sometimes have discussions and negotiations even and compromises amongst the 5 of us. But when you look at what we've been doing over the last few years, it generally is somewhere between 12 and 24 months between a proposal and adoption, generally somewhere in the middle of that. I can't think of the last ones we've done are sort of 15 to 19 months. But again, it's not against a clock. It's really getting all the feedback, thinking through the economics, thinking through the legal authorities, and most importantly, what goal are we seeking? So in the equity markets, we were trying to help promote competition and efficiency, basically for those individual investors in the market, getting, better pricing in the market, and of course helping issuers that are issuing, the public companies.
Another rule that's been proposed relates to climate disclosures and potentially scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. You received a letter from a number of California members of Congress, Democrats, last week, who suggested you should be following California's footsteps. They, of course, just passed legislation that a company with more than $1 billion in revenue has to disclose scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. Do they have a point? Is what California is doing going to set a precedent for the SEC or potentially make it more complicated from a compliance standpoint if the SEC doesn't pursue scope 3 as well?
I appreciate the letter. It's part of our robust comment file. Members of Congress and the public have commented. We have a different role than the legislators in California. Our role, we're not a climate regulator. We're not a climate agency. In essence, we're an agency that's climate risk neutral. It's about disclosure to the public investors. So you're an investor, and do you find this climate risk information relevant to your investment decisions? And what we know is, just looking back to 2021, 2 years ago, over half of the largest companies, over half of the Russell 1000 are already made.
And I'm just sharing, I just wanted to share this first part. I'm about to end this. We'll finish this later, but this is about all I wanted you to see of this. This was actually something that happened today, so.
Making disclosures around their greenhouse gas emissions.
And this ties into something else I want to show you with Ripple. So we'll get into the Ripple video at the end. Good evening, 8:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, October 18th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Terry, welcome in. XRP Stevie, or Stu, I mean. Tanya, welcome in, my birthday sister. KLC, Bobby, welcome in. Mitchell, Marvin. Miss Vicky, welcome in, love. Thank you so much. Jose, welcome. KB, good evening. Glad to see you in here this evening. Make sure to hit the like button, everybody, as well. I would greatly appreciate it. As you know, it's been a little, crypto's been a little rough, but I want to thank, just personally, it's been a little rocky, with new subscribers, but I'd like to thank, today we started with 18,513, and we picked up just about 30 subscribers today. So it's been the biggest single day pickup of subscribers in almost a month. Maybe more, maybe 2 months. So I don't know what drove so many people to subscribe today, but honestly, it means a lot to me. So I thank you if you're one of the new subscribers. I really do. I thank you so much, as we went over 18,540 today. So we kind of pushed through a little bit of a resistance at 18,524. And now we're starting to work our way up towards that 18,600 level. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate that. Like, you have no idea how much that means to me. XRP today is down 0.08% on the day. We're at 4874 since the flip of the clock. It's only been 53 minutes. It's only been 53 minutes. Donald, welcome in. MC Prosperity. Kelly, yeah, let's copy that. Yeah, I know, right, KB? Jose, good evening. Watch, recycle, repeat. Watch the content, recycle it to friends and family, and repeat by coming back and watching the next update. I love that message. It's such a good message. Such a good message, indeed. Let's see, what else do we got? I'm going to go stand over here so that I can see if my son walks out, because Julie's in the bed, because her foot's all swollen. So, you know, we got to do what we got to do. So, let's see. He seems okay right now. Let's see what else. I'll get to the comments as I can see them. Wow, that is, that's pretty bright in my eyes right there. So, you know what? I'll just go back and check every so often. So, let's get back to this. You know, I'm not professional in the sense of, you know, I don't have things going on. I really do like 100 things at once. But I always have time for each and every one of my audience, because I believe we're all in this together. Jeffrey, welcome in. Netflix went to $50, MC Prosperity says. Holy schmagolies. Wow. I'll get through the rest of the comments as we go on. But I found lately, I know we've had a smaller crowd watching as far as like in the lives. I found it to be very, very entertaining and very therapeutic. And what I mean by that is, we've gone through a lot, and we've actually discovered a lot of things that are about to happen within the formations. I know Terry had a fantastic short somewhere around, I want to say in the 53 cent range, maybe 52, but had a stop loss just over 55 or around, because understood the pattern. And now it's looking nice. There's a few people that had a short that are looking nice right now. And they even withstood that little push up, and we were able, you know, to find a common bond or a common area of understanding here on the charts. And it's actually a cool thing to go through day after day. And like the other cool thing that is about doing this is I'm not pressured by being here for monetary gain. Like, it's nice to be able to earn money doing this, but I know a lot of people are trying to do this for a living, so it makes it like they've got to do certain things a certain way. But that's not why I'm here, and I don't have to do this for a living. So it's nice to be able to just come on here. Where is the rest of my XRP? It says it's on here. It says it's on here. What is going on? Oh, it's on the bottom. Hey, they tricked us today, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't delete it. They just moved it out of order. I'm like, what is going on? This is out of order. Now, don't get me wrong. The income I make on this is nice. It's a beautiful thing. The ones who send donations and who are in Tom's Army, and the tiny bit of ad revenue, I think it comes out to about $900 or $1,000 a month in ad revenue. So I'm not killing it in ad revenue, but it's not like I'm working for free. So Louisville, you got 3 kids, a set of twins. Excellent. That's excellent. The twins are probably very interesting. I have my 4-year-old and then Julie's kids. I've been with Julie 9 years as of yesterday. We've been together 9 years. So I've been with her 10-year-old since she was 1, and her 17-year-old since she was 7. Because she turned 8 3 months after we moved in together. So it's been an interesting time. So, you know, and then I got a cat, but I've actually got 3 cats because there's an abused cat that lives outside. I built it a home. Somebody burned its eye with a cigarette and cut like a piece of its ear, and I'm deworming it right now, and then we're gonna give it a bath because somebody declawed it and did all that stuff and then threw it outside. It's probably 10 years old. We're gonna let it live inside. I just gave it the dewormer stuff, and Julie's gonna clean it out, you know, give it a nice bath after, but gotta go through the process before you get it inside. But that's what we're gonna do. And then there's a baby kitty that lives here. I love cats. Yes, I love cats too, Jeffrey. 5 cats, they are nice. They are nice to have. Crypto Bob, welcome in. Terry, yes, hit the like button, everybody. Thank you for saying that. Joshua, welcome in. What's going on, my friend? So with XRP, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here, and I said XRP is a secret weapon, is one of the 3 in the headline. The other one we've already covered with Gary Gensler, which we can watch the end of that video as well. And then we're going to go over what Ripple said about the climate pledge. And then I'll tie it in with Gary Gensler at the end. We're going to go in right after I do this chart, and then we'll come back to the charts. We're not rushing it. It's just I want to do a couple things here in order. I just wanted to give you a little TA. I don't expect there to be a ton of people. XRP struggling. And when XRP's not pumping, you see what happens. We get about 30 to 50 people on consistent, about 50 consistently by the time we get to the end of it. But then when it's pumping, we'll get a couple 100, 300 people in here, and it's like, that's all fine and dandy, but a lot of them are just in for the quick up and down, and then you see the ones who are here because they love XRP and aren't just trying to make a quick buck. Those are the ones you're going to want to listen to when it comes down to, do we think we're in a parabolic state? Not that the other ones don't know, but they might be here for a quick trade rather than being in here for the end game. So it allows me to understand where everybody's at. So on this bull flag setup here where I'm outlining with my pointer, that's the bull flag. Unfortunately, we're on the bottom side, so now you have to look through it, and this is the bear flag coming from down here and filling it out the same way. It's just this is the bear flag. If you play it from up higher, you can say it pulled back up into a bull flag. Well, if that's the case, you've got to finish out bullish by October 24th and push out, or do it before. Right now, we're getting rejected on the other side. We had one fake out to the 200. We didn't get excited. And now we're on the bottom side. A rejection here should pull us down about 6% for the first area, down to about 464, I believe it was, from the 494 level. Then if you break that, you come down here, which is confluent not just with the falling channel here, because that's what you would end up in, is this falling channel if that bull flag and then bear flag simultaneously fail, because that's what would happen on a breakdown. We also have a death cross here in the daily time frame when it comes to the exponential moving averages from 20 days to 200 days out. So once that happens, it's telling us that we're more than likely going to fail here. So if that happens, we'll come down here. If this breaks this uptrend, that's a hold point if it wants to hold. But if it breaks down, we have confluency at 415, not just the falling channel, but also the June of 2022 or the rising channel as well. It started June of 22. That's right down here on the 415. It's almost identical to that spot. So that's confluency if I've ever seen it. 524 is the pivot point. We just can't get above it and hold if we just make it a lot easier to see this formation. And then if you want to just take out the short-term bear flag, bull flag, falling channel combination. So we've got everything mapped out here. It's not about being able to predict it. It's about to be able to understand what kind of formation we're in so that we can see what the possibilities are. So that's what I'm looking at, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully that does help. Hopefully that's easy to understand. It's been 13 minutes. So what I want to do here is I want to play what was in the third part of my title, because my title lets you know what I'm going to do within the updates and the lives. Ripple fits the climate change narrative, let's just say. So here's a video Ripple put out, and is it any convenience that they put it out today at 5:26 in here? When Gary Gensler put his out. You guys already watched the beginning of it, and we're going to finish that video. It's just a couple minutes. After you listen, remember it's getting into the climate change, right? The climate agreement and all this stuff. So I want you to see if Ripple is on par with the federal government, and it might be a little bit deeper connection than they want you to think. Just tell me if you think it's interesting that Ripple posted this today at 5:26 after Gary Gensler went on talking about the climate.
It's both a concerning time and an exciting time in combating climate change. Without the carbon markets, we don't hit our targets in 2030. We need to start thinking about how to invest in projects going forward that are going to remove carbon significantly.
We've been working on this issue for more than 40 years, always in collaboration with businesses and industries, because we believe that in the end, it's the market economy that is going to put in place the solutions for a sustainable energy future.
One of the major challenges that we're facing is how do you prove or certify that a carbon project is actually sequestering carbon and storing it? And how do you make sure that there is authenticity in these carbon projects?
How do you know that the carbon credit you're purchasing hasn't been sold before? How do you know that it's actually high quality? That transparency and verifiability is so much easier on blockchain.
Over the past year, we've been working with climate-focused fintechs and carbon removal companies to put their carbon removal inventory onto the XRP ledger.
It's very important that the protocol we work with, that they are recognized by corporations, that's a clean chain, and that there's fast transactions possible.
Both Ripple and XRPL have focused recently on how do you mitigate climate? How do we start creating the infrastructure and the tools to allow a lot of this change to happen?
There's so many ways to generate carbon reductions, from planting a new forest to planting mangroves to direct air capture and burying. This ledger enables us to preserve the unique identity of what we do.
The good news is we see lots of new initiatives emerging that further the transparency, the liquidity, and the depth of the carbon markets.
To build the future, you have to innovate, and blockchain is the most innovative tool that we have.
I think it's a super exciting time to be in the carbon capture and transformation space. For the first time, I guess, in human history, we have the tools.
So, all right, guys, so you see what Ripple put out, and yes, I agree with you, Terry. Oh, I agree. Oh, Miss Vicky, thank you. JW, thank you all so much for the... Yeah, it was our 9-year anniversary yesterday. We're not married, but we're not getting married. That's just something we're not doing. For reasons, if some of you know about, maybe some of the benefits that you can get from that. But anyhow. So, we've been together 9 years as of yesterday, which is cool. So, and then... You seen what Ripple put out. Now listen, this is what we're getting at. We're tying connections. That's why I played the beginning. And now I want you to listen to this, and then we'll get back into the charts. But what I'm going to start doing here on the lives, it doesn't get boring to talk on the charts for 55 minutes or an hour or even 30 minutes. So we'll start splitting it up with some of the stuff we can come together with in the news, like we've been, but then also the charts so it's not as boring. So I want you to hear, we just heard the Ripple video. Now listen about the SEC with climate risk neutral.
Already making disclosures around their greenhouse gas emissions. To use the terms you use, scope 1 and scope 2. Far fewer are making disclosures around so-called scope 3. If the California law, what's now been signed, so that changes some of the economics. It means more companies will be making these disclosures in a few years. And so that does affect when we think through the economics of anything we're doing.
In addition to receiving that letter last week, something else that happened last week, or rather didn't happen, was the SEC acting to appeal a court ruling from August in the Grayscale case. Grayscale, of course, trying to convert.
And this was number 3. This was number 3 on what I put in the title. About Gary Gensler speaks on the SEC with the Bitcoin ETF. This is what I was referring to. So this happened today. So just if you want an update on that, just listen to it from Gary Gensler himself.
GBTC into a spot ETF. I know you can't comment on ongoing litigation, but should we still be considering that ongoing litigation given that lack of appeal at this point? And if not, what happens next?
Wait, didn't you just say that you knew I wasn't going to comment on the litigation? But let me just say...
But is it still ongoing since you didn't appeal?
We didn't appeal last Friday. I think that's accurate.
So you could still in the future in another form.
But what we have in front of us, just so that the viewing public understands, we have not one, but multiple, I think it's 8 or 10 filings that the staff and ultimately the commission is considering for what's called exchange-traded products, for Bitcoin to be in a security. So the Bitcoin would be held, and then there'd be something called an exchange-traded product, and that would trade on various stock exchanges. And those filings are in front of us. I can't prejudge any one of them, but there's 8 or 10 that we're looking at.
Well, there is a large number, and there is kind of a narrative in this market, and I wonder if you could put it to rest, that someone's going to get to go first. Is that likely to happen, or is it likely to be a group approval? If you're going to have one, a bunch of products could be approved at the same time.
By the way, what do you think of this whole thing? This is a big mess in itself, this climate bull. I'm not even going to get into it because I don't want to get banned. But I'll let you speak your voice in the comments. What do you think about this? And please, Make sure to hit that like button. We're up to 54 people here now. I really appreciate that so much. Miss Vicky, if the death cross plays out and we lose that 464 area, it's a better than not shot that we're coming down to at least 415. And then if we do breach that area, we'd come down to 355, which is the 2020 uptrend. With that death cross in the daily, it's not like it's in the 1 to 4 hour. It's in the daily time frame, which leads me to believe that we're more than likely going to get that correction to 35.5 cents. Possibly. Maybe 41.5 cents. And then we're going to see if that weekly golden cross can take off with that added liquidity. If we fail the 2020 uptrend, it's a problem. But if we hold there, that's when the weekly golden cross, then you would hit the 60% plus drop as the first 2 times in XRP's history. Both times when we had a weekly golden cross, we dropped at least 60%. I've been very vocal about that. That's even why it's even more exciting that 35.5 cents of the 2020 uptrend puts it just over 60%. It's almost like it's too perfect. But please hit that like button. And just, you know, if you appreciate what I do, share this far and wide. It does help with the analytics.
Again, I'm not going to prejudge. The staff's doing work on those multiple filings, but it's also about those companies or issuers. See, when a company is actually, or an asset manager is seeking to take something public, these exchange-traded products need to register with the SEC, and they go through a filing somewhat similar to going public, like an IPO. And so it's really the work of our division of corporation finance that gives feedback. Our division of trading and markets, of course, looks at the filings of the exchanges.
Well, and we know the issuers have had interaction with the staff, questions the staff has asked that issuers have tried to address. Do you have a sense at all of whether or not the attempts to address those questions and issues have been productive, fruitful, changed anything?
Again, this is a time-tested process that goes back decades. It's like the staff of the SEC, it's called the Disclosure Review Team. But in that group, they respond and give feedback to potential issuers. But I don't have any details on those individual conversations.
Thank you, Mr. Gensler, or Gary Gensler. So that's what I wanted you to see there. So hopefully you see how that all ties in together. Exactly, JW. Don't exhale. Don't exhale. Miss Vicky, I'm gonna see what your comment said. I seen you had a question. Hold on just one sec. I apologize. Miss Vicky said, so, oh yeah, I already answered that, duh. I always press the like. Thank you, Rockin' Painter. I greatly appreciate that. And thank you for being in Tom's Army for month 1. He's got that month 1 emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. My face is superimposed there. You better believe it. Gensler may be gone before an ETF gets approved. It might be, Terry. You never know. Yes, Mother Earth does take care of herself. So, this is the only other thing I can think of to tell everybody about. No, I'm not married. Are you talking to me? I am not married. Well, I might as well be. But I just say we're in a, I don't know, my significant other. We've been together 9 years and I'm not going nowhere. She's not going nowhere. But this is the only other news that I can think of to talk about while I have you live. XRP perfect payment. Has anybody heard this? About this, by the way, we've got 54 people here. So 43 likes. Make sure to hit that like button. It'll spread this to a wider audience. If you want to show me extra support because you just want to show me extra support, you can always join Tom's Army and get one of those cool emoji badges. And if you stick around for 2 years in Tom's Army, you get the 589 badge. If you stick around for a year, you get the I told you so badge. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And then there's a bunch of them in between. And then you can always send a YouTube super chat if you feel inclined. But it's not necessary. All I really think is necessary is to hit that like button. It really is a lifeline here on YouTube. And it's one way to allow more people to see this. Get a bigger audience. We have a beautiful audience as it is. We don't want to rock the boat. But, you know. Rockin' XRP Panda, you said you felt dirty watching you for free. Hey, it's like, you know, you go on, I guess if you watch pornos, you know, or porn, it's a lot different than when our parents used to do it. You know, our parents, like my dad, would have Playboy magazines behind, like, the toilet or whatever, hidden under the mattresses. You know, now you can just go online. Personally, I think it's, I don't know, I don't like it. I just don't like it. I think it's, I I don't want to say it's degrading to women, but you know what it does? You want to know what it does when you start watching porn and all that good stuff? It starts to give you a false perception of what's going on around you, and then you might not have that same experience with your partner, you know, if you're getting yourself into that stimulation all the time. So I think it's a lot more advantageous if you just if you do it with your partner. But you know what? This is not a sexual station, so you guys can make your own decisions. I seen somebody join Tom's Army, so CJ2 Pilot, welcome to Tom's Army. Look at that. That's 3 in 2 days on the lives. Awesome. And we know he's in the Tom's Army, and it's month 1 because he's got the Tom's Army badge of me being abducted by aliens. Girl I knew made that. I met her on social media. She was she does crocheting, and she made that for me. It's a cool story. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate that. CJ2 Pilot, you are so welcome, and thank you for paying it forward. I truly mean that. I love when somebody's in Tom's Army. We have a lot of people watching tonight that are in Tom's Army, and that's always special. So let me read this real quick, and then let me get to the chart at the end so that I can wish you all goodbye so I can check out my son. XRP perfect payment option for TapJets. Ripple advocate Deaton explains why. So he stressed the importance of XRP and its utility for the company. Besides, TapJet has supported Ripple in its legal war against the SEC regulator by filing an amicus brief in October last year. So founder of Crypto Law, he also says, he published a tweet about it, blah, blah, blah. Deaton reminded his followers that when filing the amicus brief to support Ripple, the company stressed how XRP solves real-life problems. This is how the company charges payments and how XRP is better for it than in traditional bank transfers. According to Deaton, if you need a jet at least at the last minute, you must pay the cost up front, pilot, flight attendant, fuel, airport fees, etc. But if it's Friday or the weekend, banks are closed and no wire transfer is available. He then added that XRP was developed to solve the problem of regular payments getting disabled on Friday nights and weekends. TapJet accepts XRP as a form of payment in 3 to 5 seconds. You pay for the cost up front and your jet is on standby. By filing the amicus brief, TapJet did its best to explain to the court why it does not believe XRP to be a security, contrary to what the SEC keeps insisting on. So Johnny Deaton also said XRP is the choice crypto for payments, as TapJets, who filed an amicus brief. We already went through that. So yada, yada, yada. So that's the other news that I can think of. Other than that, just pay attention to XRP. We have to still see if XRP ends up in this bull flags territory, which we're below right now. And I've stated it once, I've stated it twice, I've stated it a million times, but it's your first time if it's your first time here of hearing it. This is the bull flag setup within a much bigger bear flag. And if it were to break true from up here and break the 53.5 cents, you could push up theoretically to the 62.5 cent rising channel resistance that started June of 22. Or if you get rejected here, now you fall into the bear flag. Now you could come down here and still hold technically at 465. But if you break down from here, the technical target would first be 415. And then ultimately you could get down to the 2020 uptrend at 355. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's been an honor and a privilege. Please hit that like button. Please share this if you appreciate this content. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. I'm blessed to have each and every one of you in the audience. I'm going to go take care of the family.